Hi everybody, my name is Kristen Daddario and I'm an artistic associate with Los Gatos Ballet. I'm really excited to share a project with you that we've been working on for the last few months here. It's called Home is Our Stage, and it contains 3 separate video projects that I worked on with levels 5 to 8. I was inspired by our time during shelter in place and how we could recreate the spaces that we live in. So we're used to dancing in a studio, performing on a stage, having makeup and costumes on, and spending a good amount of time rehearsing up to that point where we perform on stage and audience members come into the theater and they're able to experience a story or a ballet or just pure movement joy on a stage. So we found ourselves in this new and unusual situation, and I really wanted to use the time to teach our students that we can indeed perform anywhere. And the spaces that we live in can really shape how we move our bodies through space. Space is indeed an element of dance. And when I'm creating something to be performed on stage, I'm often thinking about how the dancers are moving through the space together. This was an interesting opportunity to discover how we could move through space but on a screen, and how each one of our spaces is completely different. We are in different attire. We're not all wearing perfectly matching costumes. We're not wearing the same makeup. We're not all wearing matching tights and leotards and shoes. We are being ourselves in our own spaces. So how can we unite in that time? And being separate, how can we come together? This is a perfect element of how we can unite as humans. Dancing brings us together. And I just love the idea of the movement itself being the unifying force in the art form. So I decided to create some choreography that the dancers would learn on video from YouTube videos, tutorials, and also have some rehearsals during our Zoom classes as well. And I just found it to be a really fascinating process of teaching the movement through a video versus being in person. It was a much different process, sometimes difficult, but I think it was a really great opportunity for the dancers to grow in how they learn something and how I can grow in teaching something, and also creating something that would be seen on a screen versus on stage. So it opens up all these different possibilities, and oftentimes what might seem as a limitation in the beginning and can be somewhat frustrating can actually turn into something really beautiful. And I really do feel that what we created together is something quite extraordinary and very unique for the dancers. So I really enjoyed working on this. We started it back in April, and it was a long editing process. I learned a lot. There were some headaches that happened for sure. And I'm sure it was the same for the dancers as well, trying to learn something and reverse something from a video versus being in the studio with me and being able to ask me live questions on the spot. But nevertheless, I think it was a great experience for everybody involved, and I'm really excited to share it with you. Level 5 and 6 worked on one video together, and it's called Air Waltz. The music is by Oliver Davis, and I just found the track to be an incredibly inspiring piece of music that really connected me to my youthful spirit, how I felt when I was younger dancing and how I still feel when I'm dancing, just ultimate pure joy. And I really wanted to share that, especially in this time when it can be incredibly frustrating to share the space with your family and have your parents having meetings while you're trying to do your homework and then take your ballet class with the dogs running around the house. It's like, can we connect through that joy of pure movement and just remember what it feels like and how wonderful it feels to dance together. So that movement has a lot of sort of whimsical movements, lots of sweeping waltzes and turning and jumping and just kind of bounding around the house in their backyards. Level 7 and 8 created a piece together in its entirety. It's called Flight. There are 2 parts. The first part is also the movement, or the music is by the composer Oliver Davis. The piece of music is also called Flight, and I used 2 movements from that whole section called the second and third movement of the pieces. So part 1 is the second movement of the piece of music. And it has more of a nostalgic feel. It connects you more to sort of what we're maybe the frustration that we feel being in our homes and being limited to the space that we're limited, and the uncertainty of when we're going to return to some normalcy. So I felt the music was really calling for some sweeping movements, a lot of expressive upper body, lots of pull, lots of tension. It's more adagio like, lots of bending and curving in the movements. And so you'll see the dancers, there's sort of an expression of longing. It's a bit melancholic. And then the second part is sort of the opposite of that. It flips more into the curiosity of how can we make something out of this time? How can we make ourselves useful? What can we do to play if we're not able to go to our normal spaces? How can we work around that and still be joyful? So it kind of comments more on the curiosity of the time, and it works more with gestures and line, and it's very witty and playful. So it kind of encompasses a little bit of the two sides of maybe what we're experiencing right now in this time. So yes, overall, I'm really excited to share this with you. We will be sharing these videos 1 week at a time. They will only be up for 1 week, so really make sure that you take the time, and they're about 3 minutes each, 3 to 4 minutes each. And take a second and check out our YouTube page. We'll have them up on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for 1 week only. So starting tomorrow on Wednesdays, we will be sharing them for 1 week. So Air Waltz will be for 1 week, and then the next Wednesday we'll share Level 7/8 Flight Part 1, and the week after that we'll share Level 7/8 Flight Part 2. And I really look forward to sharing this with you. It's been in the works for a while, and I just can't wait to have you guys see these beautiful pieces of the work. The dancers worked so hard. They worked through so much. Yes, and I really enjoyed it. So I hope you do too. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you when we get back to the studios, as we already are.